Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we have this time to talk about midlife and all of the really exciting things going on and some of the challenging things going on because they're both equally as important. Because I know you, like me, want your best possible life. And so we are going to talk about some pretty interesting topics. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today is, are you one of those women that take things too personally? And I know a lot of us do, and it can create a lot of angst for us. So we're going to talk about that today. Let's just say that you're out to lunch, really nice coffee shop, and you overhear a couple of women talking about taking a trip, and you can see the back of them, but they really can't see you. And you realize it's two women that you know really well, and they're talking about putting together a girls' trip. They're talking about going away, and they never mention your name. And all of a sudden, you become crushed. You're so hurt. And then you even start to become like a little angry, and then you even become a little resentful and your feelings are hurt. But what really happened as soon as you felt crushed? The truth is, you don't know what the trip was about. The truth is, there's no way you could know. All you know is that your name didn't come up, and that really troubled you, and you took that really personally. So, if you're one of these women that's guilty of being overly sensitive and overly worried about what's going on around you, then I invite you to stay with me today, because I was one of those women and I have gotten on the other side of it. And it feels so much better to be in that place than in the place of always wondering what people are doing and what people mean by what they're doing and what they're saying. Um, okay, so here's a couple things to take a look at. Do you struggle to let things go? Do you just sit there and you leave that lunch and you go home and you're like, well, I wonder what they meant by that. Well, why didn't they mention my name? Um, well, I wonder if I offended one of them, if I did something wrong. Did they invite me to something and I didn't show up? And your mind just goes on and on and on into this really, really negative spin. Okay, that's one. Do you do that? I did. I used to do that. Um, do you judge others too quickly? A lot of us that are overly sensitive and take things too personally judge ourselves very quickly. And we tend to do the same thing. Sometimes we judge others too quickly. And that's really not very fair either. So we really don't want to be in that boat either. Um, and do you always worry about offending people? Do you worry about saying the wrong thing or being at the wrong place? Or, you can't just sort of do what you think is the right thing to do. You're sort of worried about, am I going to offend someone? I don't know if I want to invite that person over because I should invite the other person too. These thoughts that just go on and on and on. Um, this was definitely me. Do you worry about what others think too much? So it's kind of like the second one that we were just talking about, but it's more about, what do they think? Maybe they looked down at your shoes and gave you a weird look, and immediately, instead of going, wow, maybe they have the same pair of shoes I do, if you take things too personally, your mind goes in the opposite direction and you're thinking, oh, they probably hate these shoes. They would probably never buy these shoes. Do you see, in 2 seconds, your mind can go in a positive direction? Oh, I bet they're looking at my shoes because they have the same pair. Or your mind can immediately go to the negative thought, which is, why, I wonder why they're staring at my shoes. They probably hate my shoes. So how often do we do this? Right? Some of us do it a lot, some of us do it a little, but we really don't need to do it at all. We'll be so much happier. Are you really, really tough on yourself? Even to the point to where you even have thoughts in your head like, well, I'd ask her over for lunch, but she probably doesn't even want to come. So that's even taking it to a whole new realm. That's taking it to the realm of self-sabotage, right? That's keeping things from happening before you've even given them a chance. Your immediate process is fear, shut down. Okay, I'm not even gonna go there. Okay. How sad is that we do that to ourselves? That's ridiculous. Do you react negatively to criticism? And when people make remarks, are you overly defensive? Maybe you invite someone over and they make a comment about your big pile of laundry. And instead of laughing about it and going, yeah, I can't believe I had 5 kids, you're immediately defensive. So, what is your immediate reaction when these kinds of things come up? A lot of this is some mindset work that you can really work on. Instead of immediately going to the negative, what if you went to the positive mindset? What if you went to the positive thoughts? What would that look like? Do you put too much value on what other people say and what other people do? Um, are you wrapped up in that? Is that important to you, that it's really important that people value you and people say, oh, that was a really good thought, Darcy, or that was a really good idea, or I'm so glad that you joined this committee, and on and on and on. Do you place a lot of value on that? Do you need that? Do you need to get that back on a regular basis? That's a really important thing to look at, because let's face it, where we really need to place value is on us, and what's really important is what we think. Because when we put all of our eggs in one basket and we're looking for someone to value us, and they're not even the right person, they can't even value themselves, and yet we want them to give beyond what they're even possible of doing for themselves. We want them to give it back to us. It's going to fall flat for so many of us. So, what do you think? What do you need? How do you give that back to yourself and build up your own self-esteem? Because that's where it's going to stay forever. You don't have to go out and shop your friends and your neighborhood to feel good about yourself, because it comes from the inside. And once you have it, no one can take it from you. It's really, really fabulous. All right. The other thing that's part of this is you can't take a compliment. And I can really speak to that. For years, someone would say, oh, wow, I love that color on you. And I'm like, oh, well, it's okay. It's not really the best color, but, it's kind of busy and it's just what I put on. You can't say, thank you. That means a lot that you said that to me. You're always backpedaling. No, I don't want to take your compliment. No, don't give me a compliment. That's you not putting any value on you. Because if you value you and someone gives you a compliment, you immediately go, thank you. When you don't value you, that's when it's so easy for you to go, oh, no, 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 no. No, I don't accept compliments. Please don't like me. I don't even know if I like me. And so it goes down this like really dead end funnel, right? So is that you? Are you like that? Because I used to be like that and I had to change. I wanted to change. I didn't like it at all that I couldn't even take a compliment. If any of these describe you, you need to work on how to have a thicker skin. You need to work on how you are going to respond to some of these things so it can enrich your life instead of take away from your life. Being overly sensitive is exhausting, you guys. It's exhausting to be overly sensitive and always worry what everybody else is thinking and always trying to please other people and taking everything personally. I don't know what she meant by that. I don't know what she meant by that. I mean, I know I gained some weight, but I think that's what she meant. That mindset and those thoughts are exhausting. You're just going to go to bed at night and pass out because it's just going to wear you out. All right? The other thing, it's not going to help you find your best life. There's no way if you're taking everything personally, it's going to be the arrow that's going to point you in the direction of finding your best life. And the other thing about taking everything personally is people usually find it unattractive. It's not something where they're like, "Oh, gosh, I really want to be around Susie because she can't take a compliment. She doesn't like any kind of criticism. She's very defensive. If I mention her flowers in her yard, and she takes everything really personally. Yeah, can't wait to go out to lunch with her." So, hey, it's creating roadblocks for you. So, if you want to stop some of the paranoia about how come she got asked and I didn't, some of it might just be the fact that it's not attractive. It's not fun to be around someone that's overly sensitive. All right. It's kind of a downer. It's like being around someone that complains too much. It's almost on the same level, right? People want to be around people that are willing to be confident and willing to step into that. All right. So we're going to look at 5 things that you can do to work on changing your mindset and not immediately reacting with that negative thought. And it's going to make your life so much better if you can not take things personally. So we're going into back to school, holidays, lots of friends, lots of family. This is really a time when we can have our defenses up. This is really a time when we can be like, "Oh, I don't know, I really don't like Aunt Sue. She's always makes comments about my weight." Or this person or that person, or maybe you're going to start seeing your neighbors more, or whatever's going on in your community and in your life. This is something you really have to practice. Okay, it's not something you can just get up one day and be like, "I'm not going to take things personally anymore." Think about why you have those thoughts, those immediate thoughts, and then think about how you would like to change that so you can have your dream life. You can have everything that you want. And I know you can do it because I did it. It takes purpose and intention, and you have to practice it. All right? So one of the first things you can do is slide when there is a comment or a criticism, or you're sitting at lunch and you hear girls talking about a girls' trip and no one mentions your name. What do? You slide into neutral. You go, that's interesting. Stop. Stop it right there. Don't overthink it. Don't put a lot of attention to it. Don't spend a lot of time on it, because most likely it doesn't mean anything. And our drama, our past drama, or whatever drama that's around you, is stirring up all of this. And it's not good for you. So you need to do yourself a favor and you need to slide your car into neutral. Don't plunge ahead and make a bunch of, uh, don't assume a bunch of stuff or make accusations, or that's plunging ahead. That's putting your car into drive when you don't know where you're going. Don't put it into reverse and start going, "Well, she did this last year," and assuming all the worst about the past, or maybe moving into regrets. Keep it in neutral. That's where you can become very thick-skinned. I go, "Well, that's interesting. Well, I never heard that before. And think of neutral comments you can make that will help you stay into neutral so you don't immediately go and get your feelings hurt and be offended. Get out of your own drama. I just mentioned this. We all have our drama, right? Some of us like a lot more drama than others. I always say that I am a drama-free zone, hands and an X. I don't want to deal with any of my extra drama, and I really don't want to deal with your drama. It's exhausting, right? It's an energy drainer, right? So get out of your own drama. Highly sensitive people have a tendency over time, it becomes a habit that we put ourselves in the middle. We put ourselves in the middle of a lot of these thoughts. And it comes from our own drama. It comes from bad habits. It comes from immediately jumping to wanting to defend ourselves when we don't need to. We don't need to, right? It's a lot of extra work we don't need to do. The truth is, all people are going to project on you their own beliefs, their own criticism, their own negative thoughts. And so many times it doesn't have anything to do with you. Just because somebody walks up to you and stares up and down and gives you the one eye, that may have nothing to do with you. And we immediately go, oh, did she notice I gained weight? Oh, she probably hates my new hairstyle. It doesn't mean anything. Why do we stir up the drama, and why do we pretend like things mean something when they don't mean anything? Okay, think about that for a minute, because that's a big thought, really. Think about that. Okay. Take into account who is criticizing or judging you, if that's going on in your life. If it's a family member or a neighbor, are they worth upsetting you? Are they that big in your life that they are that kind of person that likes to push your buttons, they like to trigger you, and what do they actually bring to the party? Usually it's not much at all if that scenario is going on, where you're around someone, whether it's a toxic person, an ex-husband, and you just get involved in that drama, and you got to stop letting them stir the pot and getting you upset. You got to pull yourself out of that scenario, and you've got to know that people that are overly critical and overly negative are coming from a place of lack and need. And I've said this many, many times. Pull yourself away from it. It's like run the other way, because you don't want to be pulled into their lack, their need, their negative thoughts, their judgments against you, right? That should mean nothing to you. Always be honest with yourself and be willing to say, you know what, I do think that maybe I want to think about this. I do think maybe I want to be more self-aware. So the one thing that you can take away from that is do be honest with yourself. The most important thing is to go, I think maybe what she said was valuable, and then stop and then move on. Don't dwell on these things. Don't give your mind a party and say, okay, mind, I'm gonna throw a pity party, and guess what? Everybody's invited. All the emotions are invited to the pity party. Don't do that. That's bad. So take stock, take an honest look at what happened, what's going on, and then move on. Let it go, right? That's where it comes, sticks and stones can break my bones, words will never hurt me, right? We all heard that in like our kindergarten recess, right? There were kids that would yell that at each other. And what it means is words are only words. They don't really mean anything. They need to sort of bounce off of you. Let them bounce right off of you. Okay, so the last piece of advice for this is, what they say, fake it till you make it. So what does that have to do with not taking things too personally. Find your inner strength, find your inner power, find your inner beauty, find your inner intelligence, and find your inner confident girl and bring her out. And even though you may not feel confident, walk in confidence. You have to practice doing it. I did it and you can do it too. What that person said really doesn't affect me. This doesn't involve me at all. That kind of thought just doesn't resonate with me. You're so confident, and your confident thoughts help you rise above any other feelings and emotions that are going on with you. You rise above it. It's below you now. You don't have to react, respond, none of that, because you are in your inner, powerful, confident girl. And that's where you want to stay. You're not having these thoughts. I wonder why she invited her to lunch and not me. Your new thought is, that's really great that they're getting to know each other. And maybe next time I'll invite them to go to lunch with me. Bingo, completely different thought. Every time you stop overreacting to what's going on around you, you put on your big girl panties. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. And you have confidence in the bank. Confidence is a feeling, and we have to build it up. It just doesn't show up one day like an Amazon package. I don't know about you, but I have Amazon. I live out in the country. I live on a farm, and I have Amazon packages show up every day. It's like Christmas. Every time I need something, I buy it off of Amazon. You can't buy confidence. It just doesn't show up like an Amazon package at your door. You've got to build it. You've got to grow it. You've got to nurture it. You've got to walk in it until it's so innately in you that you become it. You become that confident person because you're walking in it. You're believing in it. You want it. You desire it. You don't want to be offended all the time. You don't want to take things too personally. Your confidence can become the center of everything around you if you grow it and build it and nurture it. It's a feeling, and you can have it, but it takes intention and purpose, and you have to work on it a little bit. It just doesn't show up one day. So I used to take a lot of things personally, and I used to get my feelings hurt all the time. And I grew up as an overly sensitive girl. And I had to really work on this. And I had to stop being offended and stop wondering I wonder what somebody meant by that. And it took some practice, but I have to say, I worked on it for about 2 or 3 years. And I noticed it just kept changing and just kept getting better and better and better. And now I don't have those thoughts. I don't have those thoughts. I mean, of course, I'm human. I wonder sometimes, well, gee, I would have liked to have been invited to that or something like that. But it doesn't hurt my feelings, and I don't take it personally. I just keep doing what I'm doing. And people are drawn to me because I really value myself. So I hope this was helpful for you today. I would love to see you build up your confidence, and I would love for you to stop taking things personally. It's an energy drainer, and it's painful, and it hurts, and it doesn't bring anything really into your life. So I hope that you will subscribe to the channel down below. I would love for you to subscribe. I would love for you to come over and join my Facebook group, Love Your Midlife. I would love for you to listen to my podcast on Spotify, Amazon, or iTunes. It's called Love Your Dreamy Midlife. Lots of goodness there. So if you don't have time to watch videos, there's always the podcast. And if you want to reach out to me, if you want to know anything about coaching, please reach out to me. All my information is down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's lots of goodness coming your way. And I hope that you have a wonderful, confident day. Bye, loves.